So not too long ago, I put up a poll on our channel, and please make sure you guys go vote on this poll. And I asked the audience, I said, should the Lakers move LeBron James by the trade deadline? Right? Maybe I should have phrased the wording different. And in the 2 hours, we have about 3,000 voters. Of the 3,000 voters, 89% of them are saying yes. 11% of them are saying no.
So, now you're going to retire. That shouldn't be too hard for you. Stupid game after all.
Get him out. We're not talking 70% or 60%. 89% of the fan base wants LeBron off the squad immediately. The revolt is real. Do you think he's hurt the Lakers more than he's helped since 2018? Be honest in the comments section. I've said it before. LeBron James has ruined this franchise. I sincerely believe that. It's been nothing but chaos since the guy arrived. Turmoil, drama, his ridiculous fan base infiltrated the building and turned it into a total disaster. It's like you've got honey stuck all over the floor and hornets swarming in the sky. It has just been a complete mess. Those are the undisputed facts of the case. We need to talk about what's going on in LA right now because the fan base is having a total meltdown. And for once, they aren't melting down because the team is losing. They're melting down because they finally realized exactly what the problem is. And his name is LeBron James. I asked, should the Lakers move LeBron James by the trade deadline, right? Maybe I should have phrased the question differently. But within 2 hours, we had 3,000 votes. 89% said yes, 11% said no. We sent out a simple question to the Lakers faithful. Should the team trade LeBron by the deadline? Usually polls like this are pretty split because every fan base has different perspectives and opinions. But this one wasn't even close to an even split. Out of 3,000 people voting in just 2 hours, 89% said yes, trade him. Only 11% said keep him. That is not a close vote. That is a landslide rejection of LeBron James by the actual fan base. And if you think the numbers are bad, the comments are even more brutal. People are saying stuff like, trade him to a retirement home. He's killing this team. Just buy him out and dump him and Bronny. One fan noted the Lakers were happy for 15 games at the start of the season, and now there's a dark cloud hanging over the whole organization. Back when the news first circulated about LeBron potentially coming to Los Angeles, a lot of diehard fans weren't exactly thrilled about the idea. It wasn't because LeBron wasn't a great NBA player, it was because of all the antics and baggage that come along with the guy. Let's break down why this is happening. It's not just about wins and losses, it goes way deeper. When he signed back in 2018, a significant portion of the fan base wasn't happy. Not for a lack of talent, but because of the drama and chaos that trail him everywhere he goes. They knew what was coming and they were right to be worried. Since he arrived, it's been pure turmoil. Coaches getting fired, players getting shipped out, and the front office making moves to keep LeBron happy instead of doing what's best for the franchise's long-term health. His personal fans invaded the Lakers community and started acting like anyone who criticizes him is just a hater who doesn't know a thing about basketball. It's been a disaster. Fast forward to this season when LeBron missed a stretch of games due to injury. You know what happened? Actual Lakers fans were relieved. Finally, they could watch their team play real basketball without everything revolving around one 41-year-old player. And the team responded by going 11-3 in those first 14 games without him. The Lakers weren't just winning, they were playing beautiful basketball. The offense flowed, everyone knew their role, and the defense was actually functional. Luka was orchestrating everything, Austin Reeves was cooking, and the young guys were contributing. It was exactly what fans had been hoping to see. Then LeBron came back, and it all fell apart. We talked about it. That was priority number one for me, role clarity. I think since we got Bron back, we haven't been as organized offensively. Too many random possessions. So, that's on me. It really comes down to those three things: defensive clarity, role clarity, and offensive organization. The defensive rating, which had been solid, immediately shot up by nearly 10 points per 100 possessions. In the bad way. The chemistry they built just evaporated overnight. Guys who were thriving suddenly looked confused and frustrated. The Lakers started losing the teams they were beating easily just weeks prior. When LeBron returned, he handpicked the easiest matchups for his comeback. His first games were back-to-backs against the Utah Jazz. And naturally, LeBron stans started celebrating immediately like he had just saved the franchise. They were running around social media acting like he gave the Lakers something they were missing, completely ignoring the fact that he was playing against one of the worst teams in the Western Conference. He started playing alongside Austin Reeves, and immediately you saw Austin's numbers take a hit. Then the losing started, right? And then what happened? Austin eventually got injured, and I said, okay, Let's see what happens now that it's LeBron and Reeves instead of Luka and Reeves. And it has been a total disaster ever since. The real issue started surfacing once LeBron was fully integrated back into the lineup. Austin Reeves' numbers tanked because instead of being a primary playmaker, he was stuck standing in the corner, waiting for LeBron to maybe pass him the rock. The offense went from diverse and unpredictable to stagnant and predictable. And the defense completely collapsed because LeBron refuses to put in any effort on that end of the floor. The Lakers are playing 500 ball over their last 10 games. That is not championship basketball. That isn't even playoff basketball in a competitive Western Conference. That is mediocrity, and it's directly linked to LeBron's presence destroying the chemistry and defensive structure. Trade him to the Shady Pines retirement home. I wish they could cut him, but he's got that no trade clause in his contract. They should trade his son just to send a message. His contract is up in March anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's a win for LA. Another fan said, "Bro, he is killing this team. Just pay him out and dump him in Bronny Jr." The Lakers were vibing for 15 games at the start of the season. Now there's a dark cloud over them. Looking at those comments, you can feel the frustration pouring out of the actual fan base. One person mentioned the no trade clause but suggested trading his son to send a message. That is brutal, but it shows how fed up people really are. Another fan pointed out that LeBron's contract expires in March, so it doesn't even matter. It's a win for LA when he's gone. Someone else wrote, "The man should be benched and his minutes reduced significantly, but JJ Redick doesn't have the guts to do it." And that right there is the real issue. The Lakers organization is too terrified of LeBron and his fan base to make the necessary basketball decisions. They are held hostage by his presence. During Luka's extension press conference, Rob Pelinka had this to say about LeBron's future with the team. Pelinka said if he had a chance to retire a Laker, that would be great. Putting personal feelings aside, should LeBron feel disrespected by how the Lakers are treating him at this point? Nah, I'm not buying it. Look, they brought in fresh legs, but that no trade clause keeps popping up in the chat, and yeah, it is a massive roadblock. LeBron rigged his deal so he holds all the cards on whether he stays or packs his bags. The front office is handcuffed. They can't move him unless he gives the green light to waive that clause. And why would he? The guy is perfectly happy cashing checks while the roster burns around him. Honestly though, the poll asked the wrong question. It shouldn't be should they trade him, it should be should they cut ties by any means necessary. That is where the fan base is at. They don't care about the logistics, they just want him out of the building. Let's be real for a second. The folks claiming to bleed purple and gold while blindly worshiping LeBron, they aren't Lakers fans. They're LeBron stans masquerading as the Laker faithful. Diehards who have been riding with this team since way before 2018 know the score. They saw the Mamba mentality. They saw Showtime. They know what this franchise is supposed to look like. And what we are watching now? That ain't it. You have to ask, when did these supposed Lakers fans who fawn over the king actually hop on the bandwagon? Because if you bought your first jersey when Bron signed in 2018, you aren't a Lakers fan. You're a player fan who tolerates the jersey. Big difference. Actual supporters would never push to mortgage the future for a 41-year-old. They wouldn't make excuses for a guy sleepwalking on defense during high-stakes games. They wouldn't put up with a dude yucking it up with the opposition during timeouts while the rest of the squad is sweating bullets trying to salvage a win. But his stans defend it because their allegiance is to the man, not the shield. Think about the legends. You think Lakers Nation would have ever begged for Larry Bird? No shot. Would Boston ever cheer for Magic? Never. Rivalries and identity actually mean something to the lifers. Yet LeBron's followers act like the franchise should kiss the ground he walks on, even while he tanks the culture. And don't get me started on the circus his agent brings. Rich Paul hops on a mic and starts playing fantasy GM in public. He literally went on air proposing they swap Austin Reeves for Jaren Jackson Jr. That is a glaring conflict of interest, and the silence from the organization is deafening. Paul reps Bron, runs Clutch Sports, represents half the league, and now uses his podcast to strong-arm the Lakers into moves that help his own bottom line. That isn't normal. That is not how a professional operation is supposed to run. But since it's King James's inner circle, everyone turns a blind eye. The actual fan base sees right through it, and they are livid. They're watching outside agents pull strings while the front office sits on its hands. They're watching the future get sold down the river just to keep a 41-year-old comfortable. And the dam is finally breaking. That poll wasn't close. 89% want him gone. That is not a loud minority. That is a landslide rejection of this entire experiment. And that 11% who voted stay, guaranteed those are mostly LeBron loyalists trying to protect their guy's image. One comment nailed it. The roster doesn't want him. The city doesn't want him. Just wrap up the season so he can bounce. That is the vibe everywhere right now. Lakers faithful are literally counting the seconds until his deal is up and he becomes someone else's headache. Like another user said, who fights to build around a 41-year-old? Nobody but his cult following. No logical Hoops fan would suggest constructing a roster around a guy that age. But we aren't dealing with logical fans here. We're dealing with devotees who worship the player and go to war with anyone who critiques him. But the tape doesn't lie. Look at the split. The Lakers were 11-3 without him, moving the ball, playing real team hoops. Bron comes back, they immediately go 2-4, looking totally disjointed. Defensive rating tanked, the offense stagnated, and the vibes were dead. That isn't bad luck. Someone pointed out Bron giggling on the sidelines with the enemy, while Luka and the Mavs were actually locked in, strategizing. Picture Kobe doing that. Picture Magic doing that. Even when those legends were old and losing, they never disrespected the jersey or their guys by acting like the outcome didn't matter. Bron does it on the regular because he isn't invested in the LA Lakers. He is invested in brand LeBron, and right now, the brand takes priority over the W. So yeah, he'll joke with rivals, he'll rest on defense, he'll pound the rock to get his numbers even if it kills the flow, because the stat sheet is forever. And that point about Rich Paul, dead on. How is the mainstream media letting this slide? The guy reps the star, runs the agency for half the league, and is openly campaigning for trades on a mic? That is conflict of interest inception. But because it's LeBron's universe, we're just expected to nod along. The front office is too terrified to check Rich Paul. The media is too terrified to call out the manipulation. And any fan who points out the emperor has no clothes gets labeled a hater. But the anger in those comments is valid. These are lifers watching their team get held hostage by one man's ego and his fan club's delusions. They're watching basketball logic get tossed out the window to keep the king satisfied. They're tired of sacrificing young talent so a 41-year-old can chase records. They are finished. 89% finished. They want him out. They want the agent out of the boardroom. They want the traveling circus to pack up and hit the road. They want their team back. Someone put it perfectly. Just let the clock run out. He can find a new home, and all the Bronstons can pack up their hero worship and follow him there. That isn't hate. That is just exhaustion. The people have spoken. 89% want James removed immediately. This isn't some media spin. This is the raw numbers talking. If you think this poll exposes the reality of the LeBron era, smash that like button and hit subscribe. The uprising is here, and it is only heating up.